What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, along with my two co-hosts, Vito Anazelli and Michael Nowen. Say hello, boys.
How's it going, Steve?
Hey, Steve. What's going on?
Feeling good, fellas. Feeling good. We have another great show for you guys today. Before that, please take a second, hit the bell, and subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Also, follow us on Twitter at the SL_Screamers_pod. So to start the show off, we have some news and notes from around the world. The biggest talking point, I think, especially in international football right now, the World Cup every 2 years versus 4 debate. What's your guys' thoughts and pros and cons on either side?
I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I hate it too.
All right, so we know where you guys stand. Good to know.
Well, here's the thing. I love it for the fact that I'm beginning to see World Cup competition. I don't think anyone's going to oppose that aspect of it, but I hate it from a player perspective. You're already talking about a congested schedule as it is, where they want to expand the Champions League format and add all these other teams. And these guys are going to get injured. That's just what it's going to be. While you might be creating more games, you're essentially going to inevitably dilute the quality of play with guys in and out of lineups so consistently.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at this, and I know we wrote down a couple of pros and cons before, but in my mind, for whatever reason, then, I have my reasons. Whenever I see FIFA come up with some idea, part of me just cringes into a little ball. And I can't help but think, what's the driving force behind all of this? And
what could it be?
What could it be?
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's money. And that's my whole thing, is that this is just a ginormous money grab. They're just trying to make this into a more expanded format, moving it to 2 years, 48 teams. It's going to be ridiculous. I think it lowers the prestige, the quality, to Vito's point. Players are more at risk of getting injured because now they're not just playing, at a minimum 48 to 50 games a year, assuming they're in the Champions League or something along those lines. But now with the international football schedules and all that stuff, I just don't see it. I can't foresee it being good from a player perspective, to Vito's point. And even from like other tournaments, like whether it's the Champions League, whether it's CONMEBOL, CONCACAF, who I think actually just came out in support, unsurprisingly. But like some of those other federations, I don't know when they're going to be able to kind of fit these games in and have these schedules with everything kind of baked around. So.
Yeah, the UEFA chief actually came out and said that he would basically boycott it if they try to push it through. And he claimed that the South American Federation was on board with that idea as well and boycotting. I think it was a little surprising to see Arsene Wenger, a guy who's coached for 20, 30 years, who knows how tumultuous a season can be the driving force behind trying to make a more congested schedule for these guys. And I think, Mike, you just said it. Unless it was Steve, I apologize. The prestige of the World Cup is, in my opinion, the highest trophy you can win. Your nation to be selected, and to dilute that to 5 times in a decade it takes a lot away. The records that have stood for 100 years or that have been built over 100 years are now going to fall to the wayside because people are going to be getting double the amounts of opportunities to make an impact. I don't see it as being, I shouldn't say productive, but as prestigious. And that's my main complaint behind it as well.
Yeah, I think it plays way too much on the players, honestly, because it takes 4 years for 3 years basically of qualifiers for the most part. So you have those in there. Yeah. You have the European qualifiers for the guys in Europe. I think Africa and Asia are the only two. CONCACAF, they just came out today, I think, actually, right before we recorded this.
They did.
Said they were open to the idea, but I know Europe and South America were against it. What happens to the Gold Cup, the Euros, the Copa America, Africa? What happens to all those competitions too? That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't
it's a training ground at that point.
And then what happens with like the young guys to the national team? Are you never going to be able to put them in because you're just talking about only World Cup games?
They're never going to bring in talent.
It doesn't make any sense.
It not only dilutes the prestige of the World Cup, but now all of the other competitions around it.
Exactly.
In terms of international.
And then you run into like the Summer Olympics. There's so many TV right issues that you're going to come into. It just doesn't make any sense. I get it. $6 billion in 2018 worth of revenue. I get it. Trust me. But it just doesn't.
It's almost like we ran into this issue at the beginning of the summer with a certain league that was trying to form.
The league that shall not be named.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But yeah, no, just don't.
And it's funny too, because there's just this outdated concept, not concept, reasoning for the committees to push something like this in terms of we're going to generate more revenue. Well, haven't we been in a situation before where numerous reports come out and they tell you that the countries hosting the World Cup actually lose money? So if that's the case, you can't use that as an argument.
No. So the country themselves might lose the money because of all the construction costs and stuff like that. What the people that gain the money is FIFA, the FIFA organization themselves, like for selling all the TV rights and other broadcasting and stuff like that.
It doesn't go to the people who deserve it for hosting the tournament in the first place.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they're going to try and change the reallocation. That is such a moot point. It's not even worth thinking about.
I mean, you think they give a shit? I mean, FIFA's only the most.
Well, I'm not saying they give a shit. I'm just saying I give a shit.
We might, but they clearly don't. Their pockets love it. But whatever, we'll move on from that before we all get too angry. We do have some.
One thing. What's worse, a World Cup every 2 years, or making a kick-in instead of a throw-in, or seeing a kick-in every 2 years at a World Cup?
Ooh, I think throw the 48 team
What's worse,
question in there too.
Rule change or more competition? If you had to have your pick of the two,
I'm gonna one up you on that. The World Cup every 2 years or the Super League? One has to stay.
Ooh. If Super League allows actual relegation, I'm going with that one.
Yeah, I would too.
I like the do every four. It's such a perfect tournament. Like the way it's formed right now, it just needs no changes, just none. Makes no sense. We do have Champions League group stage matches coming up. Our first match week right now. We got 4 Premier League teams playing. First up, we got Chelsea and Zenit Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going to be a more difficult game than I think a lot of people are anticipating. Zenit's in a really good streak of form right now, and I know Chelsea is as well. And being at Stamford Bridge in London, you have to obviously give the nod to Chelsea, especially coming off Champions League victory last season. They don't seem like they're slowing down to any degree. So I think if you had to pick somebody here, you're going to go with Chelsea. But I think this is going to be a much more difficult game than most people are thinking.
The away fixture should be good too, because a lot of times when people travel over to Russia, it doesn't really end up too well for them.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Chelsea here has just too much quality for them. It will be interesting though, because they did just play where they got 2 day break. It looks like, right? They played Saturday, so Sunday, Monday.
No Kante, no Pulisic.
Yeah, they do have some injuries.
To your point, Vito, I think it's going to be a much harder game than a lot of people realize. And Zenit right now, they're sitting top of the Russian Premier League, right? They're at 17 points, leading the pack by 2 right now. They're in really good form. I think it's going to be I don't want to say a shootout, but it's going to be a test, like a strong test for Chelsea. And I'll be curious to see, especially defensively, what they do, kind of given like the form that Zenit's in. It's not just going to be a rollover type of game. Like they're going to have to come out and play. So
yeah,
Champions League games are.
Yeah, I really earmarked Zenit in this group to be the kind of deciding matches for who's going to end up going through. Maybe if you wanted to say, look, Juve and Chelsea are going to come out on top. I think it's the Zenit games for both of those teams are going to determine who finishes top and bottom. I think they're a real test. You expect them to, probably beat Malmo realistically both times out. So a lapse against Zenit could be the difference between one of these teams going through top and going through second.
Absolutely. Then also Tuesday, we got Man U traveling to Switzerland to face on Young Boys and our boy Jordan Pifo. Oh, is he hurt or is he good now?
Not sure. Hopefully he's playing. Hopefully. But yeah, long story short, Man U. I mean, they just signed Ronaldo, and we'll obviously get into that and how he played over the weekend. But I do not see them losing that game.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the fact that he's one of the best to ever play the game, the Champions League is somehow inconceivably even a step up for him. I mean, he's just unbelievable in that tournament. That's not a game he's going to want to sit out either. So I can't see any other winner here than United.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. Although playing away in the Champions League, never easy as well. That can be a pretty hostile environment. Wednesday, we got 2 games. First one, Man City and Lisbon.
Leipzig. You do this literally every week.
Yeah, I'm doing it. They got. Jesse Marsh has to earn that title, baby. He's got to earn it
every week.
Hey, Mike, calm down there, Atalanta.
Atalanta. I've learned how to pronounce it now.
Oh, okay, Atlanta.
Well, I think you have to give the tip of the cap here. Not tip of the cap, but give the nod to City here, of course. But if there's ever a tournament for Pep Guardiola to overthink, it is this tournament. So It's not going to be an easy game for them by any means. Leipzig's a quality squad, even after losing someone like Marcel Sabitzer to Bayern Munich. But I think City's just going to have too much to throw at them to see this going any other way.
Yeah, I just don't foresee Leipzig being able to have the firepower to honestly keep up with them. They're not necessarily in great form in the Bundesliga right now, to be honest. City are kind of kicking into gear a little bit in the Prem. I think that the cards are just stacked against them too much.
Yeah.
At least for this game.
I agree. No, I agree with you guys. They're just in really bad form right now. And I think City just, rolling on through is business as usual. So last game for Premier League squad, we got Liverpool and Milan. AC Milan is back for the first time in about 8 years?
Longer.
Oh, they are back, baby.
Yeah,
they're back. Ibra scoring goals. It's like it's a time warp going on at AC Milan right now.
I think of all the Premier League
action.
Yeah, I think of all the Premier League teams in action this weekend, this is going to be the most interesting battle. Milan's undefeated so far, 3-0. Have only conceded 1 goal in those 3 games, which is the lowest in Serie A. And to Mike's point, with Zlatan back in that lineup, you thought they were going to be a little hampered when they lost Kalangulu. But I think this one's going to end up in a draw. I think Liverpool is going to have a tough time with Milan.
Are they at Milan? They're in.
No, they're at Anfield.
They're at Anfield.
They're in the Anfield, yeah, in Anfield.
I don't know. That place is a fortress, man.
I'm taking Milan draw.
I don't know. Anfield that place is special. It's the 12th man effect is real. I would probably say a Liverpool 2-1 win.
You want to hear something interesting? These 2 teams have only met twice in Champions League competitions. Both of them were in Champions League finals, with each of them have taken one.
We know that three
grudge match.
Grudge match. Thank God we get 2 of them.
Love it. Moving on, though, we got our Stars and Stripes recaps where we go over all American performances from the United States men's national team players from across the globe. First up, Buzio from Venezia. When do you guys want to take that?
Yeah, real fast. Buzio had a pretty solid game, 90 minutes, played in the 2-1 victory over Empoli. 81% pass accuracy, 1 key pass, 7 of 13 from the duels, had a 7.6 rating, and had a hockey assist. Pretty solid performance by him overall. For at least, especially for a lot of Americans, a lackluster weekend. So it's good to see him putting up some good statistics.
No, yeah, absolutely, dude. And then, they're playing for the American national team over in Italy for the most part. So him, Tessman, I think got one more De Vries, I think now too over there. So
the USMNT.
Next up, Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, had an amazing weekend. He played the full game on the 3-0 win, scored a goal, man of the match performance, almost 90% passing, 7 out of 11 duels won with 9 recoveries. I mean, he was just all over the place in the back of that defense for them. So it was a really, really strong performance for him. And I hope he can keep that up, because after that John Brooks back pass or whatever it was last time out, I mean, he could be vying for a spot back there.
Might be vying for a spot back at Spurs soon, given the defensive woes.
You think he actually signs back with them, though? I feel like him and don't get along.
No, Celtic will keep him, but that's a different story.
I feel you. We got Tim Ream. He played 90 minutes for Fulham in a 1-0 loss, but he had 97% pass accuracy, 6 out of 7 accurate long balls, 3 out of 3 duels won, 3 clearances, 8 recoveries. Pretty good day at the office. Unfortunate that they lost, but I really like the accurate long balls out of him, and especially Cameron too. Actually had a pretty good amount, 9 out of 14. Mm-hmm. But something we do see quite often from United States team out of the back is like those over the top balls to our wingers. If we do have a center back that can ping those passes, I think it's actually kind of crucial. And not that I know United States men's national team Twitter doesn't want to see Ream in there, but if he gets the job done and he could spur some attacks on there, all for it. And the last guy on the list, Ricardo Pepe, makes another appearance.
Yeah, I picked up right where he left off from international duty. He scored a goal, 5 chances created. I mean, the team drew, but he had a pretty outstanding game. I definitely one to watch for the future. And he's electric out there. I loved him in that last game they just played. So I'm hoping he keep that going. Yeah, definitely.
You guys hear that? You hear that chugging coming along, that whistle coming down? That's the hype train. It's coming. The Pepe hype train is here.
I wish I can cut that from this video.
Oh God, yeah.
Was that cringeworthy? Just a little bit.
Little bit.
All right, fair enough.
Slightly. Oh, dad joke, I guess, right? But yeah, no, dude, he was awesome in that game. He was the difference maker for us, without a doubt. It it's played so. It was honestly what I think U.S. fans wanted to see as a number 9 for how many years now at this point. And granted, yes, it's
since Dempsey
one game
retired, essentially.
Yeah, it's a 1 game sample size, and I get that. It's against Honduras, whatever. But the fact that you could do that, he's 18 years old, he's not afraid of the big moment. Like the amount of pressure that was on this team going into that game, especially after going down 1-0.
Oh yeah,
unreal. Great performance by him, and then following up right at the weekend too. He'll be in Europe soon, very soon.
Yeah, Fabrizio, speaking of him, Romano said on I think it was on like a Twitch podcast with somebody that a couple Serie A teams have been looking at him. So who knows? Maybe he goes to Venezia, the U.S. national team in Italy. So
soon enough. Let's move on though. We got the Barclays Premier League we got to cover too as well. Mike, cover your ears real quick. We got our weekly recap. Crystal Palace versus Spurs Sunday morning game. The honeymoon phase is officially over in North London. They dropped from first place all the way down to 7th after a 3-0 thrashing from Crystal Palace. Tanganga got sent off in the second half within like a couple minutes, 2 yellow cards back to back. Dyer limped off injured. Very short-handed on defense, and Sanchez isn't allowed to play right now. Your expected goals were 0.07, basically as low as you can possibly get, I think, without not playing the game. What are we feeling about that one, man? That one brought back to earth.
It definitely stung. I'll say that. And I know I tweeted that morning that I couldn't believe I woke up at 7:30 a.m. for that shit. But you know, it is what it is, and we expected it to happen eventually for them to come kind of crashing back down to earth. It happens. Take the loss, move on, learn from it. Hopefully, that's what separates Nuno from his predecessors, Mourinho especially, and he makes a positive change in the future. Unfortunate with Shafa Tanganga. I understand the initial yellow card. I was actually pretty excited that he made that tackle because he stopped a dead breakaway against Zaha. But the second yellow card was just absolutely stupid. He lost his cool, put his team in a bad position. They ended up getting smacked. And also, speaking of a positive debut, what's his name? Edouard.
That was really cool.
Yeah, had a phenomenal debut. Good for him. If he plays like that, maybe Palace have a serious attack coming forward. A young serious attack with Zaha, Gehi, whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? And then Eze, him. There's a lot of options moving forward for them. So that's a positive performance for them. So
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Edouard, they just signed from Celtic over the summer, and I not 100% certain, but he might have been like a club record signing. I think he was like 30-something million.
Yeah,
I think
he was up there. Yeah.
So positive impact from him. Yeah, I'm with Mike. I think this was only a matter of time. You can't win every game 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. But credit to Palace though too. They brought the fight the entire time. Their crowd.
They
was rocking the entire game.
Totally outplayed them. And the crowd was ridiculous. The energy in that park was absurd.
Yeah.
That granted, even with the red card, I thought that scoreline, not necessarily 3-0, but definitely a Palace win, was way more than that entire game. Next up, Watford and Wolves.
Good to see Wolves on the score chart. We're talking about 1-0 wins for Tottenham, and Wolves, unfortunately, were suffering a lot of 1-0 losses, if I remember correctly. That 3 of them, right, opening the season was all 3 1-0.
Yeah.
So it was good to see them to get that 2-0 win. I think they deserved this one clearly over a struggling Watford team who we expect to struggle for large parts of this season, unfortunately. But given how they've played in the start of the season, this was just a matter of time. It was an own goal to kick it off, which not how you like to see it happen. But Hwang Chan, I believe he came over. Was he in the Bundesliga originally?
Yep, he was at Lisbon, right? Yeah, that team.
Lisbon.
Yeah, he played for Lisbon.
Just to piss Vito off on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, 18th to 13th. We didn't expect them to stay down in that relegation zone for long, so it looks like they're getting their feet underneath them. Hopefully, Watford can learn to change things around a little bit. I mean, unfortunately, again, they had to go down with an own goal in the 75th minute. They were 15 minutes away potentially from pulling a point out there, but we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they create so many goals, 7.93 through the first 4 games. It's unfortunate that they've only scored 2 so far, but that's sometimes the way it falls. I don't see them having too much more trouble, and they should be fine up the table very shortly.
Mhm.
We then had a Brentford versus Brighton. Brighton came away with all 3 points, courtesy of a 90th minute winner from Trossard. For once, they really didn't look as creative as they have been in the past, but they found a way to get the dub. Brentford, Watford, and Burnley, they've won so far, and their 1 loss is against Everton. So they're taking points away from the teams they should be taking them off of. Granted, all 3 of them are wins, which is great for them. Typically, you saw them last year drawing a lot of those games. So moving up, they were up to 3rd place on Saturday in the Champions League spot, but they got bumped down to 6th after Sunday. Good for them. It's a great sign for the future. And if they keep putting away chances, who knows where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
Then we have Arsenal and Norwich.
Finally.
Game of the week.
Arsenal's level. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're not, though.
Anyway, the biggest headline of this story is that Arsenal won. And not just won, but they actually scored a goal. Aubameyang scored the winner. Maybe it's the start of something for Mikel Arteta. Maybe the start of a turnaround. This is the run of form that they needed. For Norwich, it is not looking the most promising, at least the first couple games in for them. It'll be interesting to see how Arsenal rebound, at least this upcoming week with the games they have. I read online that they have, over the next 5 weeks, one of the easier schedules in terms of the teams they're playing. So this might be some time for them to make up some lost ground, given some of the games they've had. So hopefully, and from their sake and for Mikel Arteta's sake, going into a North London derby, also, they're able to get a little bit of momentum moving into it.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, given how Norwich's season was looking fixture-wise at the beginning, unbelievable teams they had to play.
Yeah, Norwich finally on a much easier stretch coming up very shortly, but they were running into some must-win territory because otherwise you get too far behind. It's going to be being a Sheffield situation like last year.
Yeah.
Then we got Manchester United and Newcastle. The prodigy son returns.
Prodigal. Jesus.
Dude, it's late.
It is late. I'm busting chops. No, I mean, yeah, Ronaldo comes in, scores 2 goals. I mean, that was probably a negative 500 bet at the casino, realistically.
Bruno,
yeah, 5,000. Bruno Fernandes with an absolute worldie into the corner. And even Jay Lings, the God, gets on the board in the 92nd minute, I think. Dominating performance. There was only one way this game was ever going to go. They meant business. There was no way that Ronaldo was going to falter on his return. They deserved it. 64% possession, 21 shots, and almost 650 passes in that game. So well played, United, and they're really getting on a roll.
Yeah, Pogba in particular too. What do you got?
7 assists? 7, I think now.
Jesus,
yeah, he's humming, man. He is playing.
What's the record? It's like 19, I think, right?
I think
like
not Bruno. De Bruyne just said it, right? Like last year.
Yeah, he is well on track.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We'll have it broken by week 10 at this pace.
Might be. Is Man U the new Portugal national team, or Wolves still have that one?
I think it's still Wolves.
Still
Wolves.
Wolves.
I don't think you can really take that away from Wolves. So.
That's
Wolves just might be the B team. United might be the A team right now.
Yeah, with just 2 guys.
Yeah. Be
the best 2.
Yeah.
Then we had Southampton and West Ham after the opening league. Looking like the hottest team. West Ham finally cooled off. It's their second straight draw now. This one was 0-0 to Southampton. Each team had chances to win this game, though, especially late on. It was a really rocky ending. It's kind of fun to watch. Talking point, though, Mikel Antonio got a second yellow card, ended up being a red, and he's going to miss the Man City game now. Man U. I'm sorry about that, which is a huge loss for them. Should be interesting to see what happens and everything, but we thought originally after the first couple weeks they're going to be a Champions League team. What are we feeling now on them?
Champions League. I never said Champions League, and
we said push for.
Check the receipts.
Check the receipts.
But I still think they'll be pushing for European competition. Champions League, no. I've always said they have the potential for the UEFA
Nations League.
Yeah.
Or conference, whatever it is.
Yeah, Conference League. I think that's probably where they'll end up falling, realistically. So.
Gotcha. We'll have to check. I don't know if you were there for that episode. You missed a few. Next up, Leicester City and Man City.
Yeah. Man City, long story short, took home the max points, 1-0 win, Silva scoring. Definitely the right result. And it was a good performance defensively. Not much more to it in terms of like major flashpoints or things of that nature. Man City are just beginning to hum. They're getting into gear. I think this is kind of the point of the season too. If you look at the standings, I know we'll get into some of the other teams, but City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, they're all kind of starting
to
pull away. So
already.
I think we're gonna start seeing that gap really get larger over the next like 2 to 3 weeks. So
yeah, goal differential too. It's all like spot on. I think each of them had 10 points, eight plus 8 goal differential too.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something about this. Leicester City is not the type of team to sit back and defend. They want to take the ball to the opponents. They want to try to press the game and play their style. It felt like they didn't really try to do that with City. Do you think that's maybe they're identifying a couple issues and they're like, we have to adjust. Maybe our best idea is to change up the game plan a little bit, because that was not the Leicester City we typically see week in, week out.
Something's going on with them though, because they're not looking at all like what they have been in the past couple of years.
No.
It's very strange. It's very strange what's going on in their camp right now.
Even from the last month and a half, 2 months when they played Man City, right? Or was it Man City or Chelsea who they played in the FA Cup?
City.
I mean, no, the
Community Shield was City. Chelsea was the FA Cup.
And they beat City in the Community Shield.
Yeah, they won both of the games.
So, I mean, even from like that point on, like as recent as the Community Shield, like they have not looked to your point, Steve, as like the same team. I don't know if it's like some type of mantra or mojo that's off of them right now, but they need to kind of, if they want to get back on track, finish in like that European position, which they're very much capable of. They got to pull it together. So,
and I mean, in Leicester's defense, no pun intended, they were pretty unlucky to concede that goal off a deflection off Soyuncu, try to make a block.
Yeah.
So it almost
but
worked.
at the same time, that result was very telling of the whole 90-minute match.
Yeah.
We had the primetime game on Saturday, Chelsea and Aston Villa.
Yeah, we all picked a different result for this, huh? I think Steve, you took a win. I took a draw, and Mike took a villain win.
No. I took a Chelsea win.
You took a Chelsea win? All right.
Yeah.
I'll trust you on that.
Why are you trying to throw everyone else
lying,
on the bus?
I'm checking the receipts
on
on this one.
Dude, I swear to God. Chelsea.
All right. Well, anyway.
We can listen back.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, the first half, all Aston Villa. I mean, they were just completely in control. Chelsea had a little bit of the ball here and there, but for the most part, Villains were right at their throats the whole time. It looked almost certain that they were going to get a winner. At one point, Oli Watkins rounds Mendy, and it took a Thiago Silva sliding block on a basically open net for the most part to keep a goal out. I think Aston Villa were a little unfortunate to lose this game, given what they threw at it. It's unfortunate. Tyrone Mings with a very sloppy back pass, and Kovacic was quickest to react. And at 2-0 with that Chelsea team, I believe at the bridge, there was not going to be another outcome at that point. I think Chelsea
goal.
Yeah, I think the scoreline flatters Chelsea a little more than the way that game played out. But with that being said, this is the Premier League. It comes down to moments of quality, and when the chances come around, players like Lukaku step up in the 88th minute and score an absolute belter from outside the 18. So fair play to Chelsea and good win. That puts them level on points in the top of the league now.
You make mistakes like that at that level against that type of team.
Going to be punished.
The Champions League. 10 out of 10 times you're done.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
No, I completely agree. I still felt that was a little bit of the right result at the same time, but Aston Villa definitely should have had a goal or two in my opinion as well. Mm-hmm. So it's weird though. I don't think the Chelsea midfielders really know how to link up with Lukaku yet after playing with someone like Werner who makes more runs, and Lukaku is a little much more hold up.
Yeah, there were a couple times I saw Lukaku trying to make diagonal runs into the channel. Was hoping someone in the midfield would spin him out into there, but they just don't. They didn't find him there.
He's open too.
Yeah, there was a couple times as well where you can tell the ball was played from outside into the middle of the park, or it should have been at least, and it just wasn't. A little loss of connectivity, I think, between that midfield. So I think you're right. Once they're going full stride, full health, I should say, I think you're going to see a little bit different strategy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Then we had Liverpool Leeds on Sunday, another 3-0 win. This one in favor of Liverpool. What do you guys think about Leeds right now, man? I know they had a little bit of a tough schedule, but the sophomore slump's killing them. Everyone, they're 1 point above, or 1 spot above relegation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not looking too good right now.
I still have a lot of confidence in Marcelo and that team and the way they play, but I forget who said it earlier, but I think they're starting to be found out.
I
Like that
said
game
that.
plan and that style. Yeah. And like people will just realize like sit, counter, they're gonna bring it all, and then that's how you beat them. And it's especially when you're playing a team like Liverpool who are purposely built to counter.
Yeah.
You're gonna get torn to shreds, and that's exactly what happened. So it's definitely a worrying time for Leeds. I still think they have the ability to pull it out, not be relegated. Do I think that they finish in that top half? I'm still kind of at this point a little skeptical
Questioning
on
that now, definitely.
Yeah.
The way they've been.
Tough starts to the season are difficult to overcome from a mentality standpoint. I mean, I know Beasley knows how to motivate his troops, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we had said it before the season started. That sophomore slump is, I mean, it's always going to hit one team, one of the three teams that were up, or maybe didn't go down, but it's very worrying from a Leeds perspective, especially because they're not scoring the goals. It's not like they're losing 4-3. They're not putting goals in the net right now, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
On a side note too, hopefully, if anyone watched that game, hopefully Harvey Elliott pairs up to him. Like that was a horrendous tackle. Hopefully it was obviously a bad injury, but
I think he said he dislocated it was the final verdict.
Yeah. I'd love to see him back on the field. Hopefully it's relatively soon, as soon as possible, because he's obviously a talented player. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's probably best case scenario, honestly, for him. Looked a lot uglier.
Mm-hmm.
Last game of the week, Monday Night Football, Everton versus Burnley.
Oh yeah. Long story short, I honestly picked Everton to get a draw this game. I really thought this would be the game. They come back in that sense. Everton come crashing down to earth a little bit. Everything with Rafa and whatnot. They put my words and shoved them back in my face. So they won 3-1. It was a really solid game for them. Burnley had a couple big chances. Wood had a header that he just kind of looked like he backed out of, and he kind of was like, I don't know, because he thought he might have get hit by Jordan Pickford,
Scared.
which I don't
fair,
blame him
very
for,
fair.
because he absolutely murdered Van Dijk last year. So I get it. I totally get it. But he honestly should have headed that ball, and me was able to capitalize and kind of tie it. But after that, Everton just, I think it was like a 6 or 10 minute span where they just literally, it's like a bomb,
7 minutes, 3 goals.
A bomb went off. Specifically Andros Townsend channeling his inner Gareth Bale, cutting on the left foot.
And Doucouré had 2 assists on those.
That was a bomb, an absolute bomb.
Yeah.
They're looking good, man. They're looking really good. So
yeah, they spread the cheeks of Burnley in that 8-minute span. But in all seriousness, I was really impressed when Burnley went up, and maybe 30 seconds off the restart, you just see Everton flying down the field, putting pressure on. I was like, I remember thinking like, that is an incredible response from this team. Incredible response. And that's probably down to Rafa. Do you think that you would see that in an Everton last year with Ancelotti maybe? Because you didn't see that type of response that frequently last year. They were at the guns for the ready as soon as they went down a goal. So
that was without Dominic Calvert-Lewin playing.
Yeah.
Also, too.
Yeah.
So that made it even more impressive. So
shout out to Mari Gray, man. Best $1.5 million ever spent apparently from Everton.
3 straight games. The goal.
Yeah, it's a big use of funds right there, especially when they've been not transfer banned, but I guess they had a little bit of financial fair play thing they ran into, and
they've also had their issues with transfers in general, where they spend money and the players don't show up. So
yeah. Since that's our last game and we're talking about goals, I did want to give a quick shout out to Mo Salah. Scored his 100th Premier League goal in that game versus Leeds. So congratulations to him. That's a pretty incredible feat.
Yeah, whatever. Him leaving Chelsea still burns a little bit, so I don't like to congratulate him. Let's move on. We got some bold predictions we got to go over for the next match week coming up this weekend. First up, we got Newcastle and Leeds. Kind of an interesting one. We got Newcastle's 18th, Leeds 17th. Wouldn't picture that.
Battle of the bottoms. This is tough. I think it's going to end up in a draw. Both teams have difficulty scoring, and they both are leaking in goals. I mean, you're talking about just who happens to show up on the day at this point. And given the way things are going, I'm not sure either of them are going to it. I think this is going to be a pretty low scoring, while not dull, but I can see a draw coming out of this match.
Michael?
Yeah, my heart is really telling me Leeds. and my head is saying otherwise. But then also that gambler in me is saying, they're due.
Love that logic. That's my favorite kind when I place a bet.
Yeah.
So with that, I do think Leeds are due. I do think that this might be the game that kind of kickstarts it a little bit for them. So I would say Leeds like a 1-0 win. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Friday night football. I think it's just a perfect type of team that they need to get the mojo going again. Someone just kind of like them leaking in a little bit, and then I think they're more talented than Newcastle as well. So
yeah,
I'm gonna take a Leeds win there, 2-1.
Okay.
Saturday games to kick it off in the AM. We got Wolves and Brentford.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go to another draw for this one. I know Wolves just got their first win of the season. And I know they were playing well for the first 3 games, but they really struggled to break down Watford, who are let's be honest, are struggling this season for the most part, and probably will struggle for the remaining season. And it took an own goal to really have to force Watford out of that deep block and to try to attack them to get that second goal. And that was very late on in the game. I think Brentford's a better team, so I think they're going to give them a pretty good attacking match. I see this one probably going about 2-2.
I mean, Brentford in general too, like they're going to be pressing. They have a specific style of play, kind of similar to Wolves in that sense, where both teams are on the front foot. Brentford, maybe a little suspect defensively, potentially. Wolves, I wouldn't say suspect, but known for the occasional blunder. We'll say that. I think a draw is probably a solid result here.
It really makes me go all 3 the same result. It's messed up. All right,
we're just correct is all. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, now both of you are now wrong. Wolves is taking this one 2-1. Put me down for that one.
All right.
Fair
I have no other logic behind it because I was gonna go draw, but just to be an asshole, we're going Wolves. Then we got Burnley, Arsenal, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche pull off the masterclass.
I mean, I thought he was going to pull it off with Everton today, but I mean, that definitely backfired. So I don't know. I love me some Sean Dyche, but do I think he pulls off a masterclass against Arsenal? Are they home in the Turf Moor?
They are.
Turf Moor.
Oof.
At the Fortress.
So it's a little tougher now.
Tempting, but I'm going to go with an Arsenal win, 1-0.
I actually completely agree with that scoreline, Mike. While Arsenal squeaked by last week, they did produce 30 shots. Aubameyang's back. He just scored. Hopefully he's back in form for them because they desperately need him at this point. And I just can't see Burnley taking more from this game. Although it's pretty sloppy. Arsenal defense is pretty standard these days. So maybe they can squeak one by like they did this week against Everton.
I'm going to take a 1-1 draw there with Burnley. Turf Moor's a fortress, so.
Okay.
Probably, if I had to guess, probably defender scoring with their luck, but
yeah.
See. Then we got Liverpool, Crystal Palace at Anfield.
Yeah. So, I mean, Palace, after that thrashing, as you eloquently stated, of Spurs last
No idea
week.
what you're talking about.
I just don't foresee them putting up 1, a 3-0 scoreline against Liverpool, and then 2, having the ability to repeat a win against Liverpool. Like we talked about, I think the gap between that top 4 and the rest of those teams, Crystal Palace especially, since they're that more or less bottom half, in my opinion, I don't foresee them having the ability to get a point out of this game. I would probably say a Liverpool 2-0 win is what I would expect out of this.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool, but I think they're going to be clear and far away. They're at Anfield this week as well, so it's always a tough place to play.
Yeah, we saw it with the Chelsea Crystal Palace game, first game of the season, and just how different the class was between the two teams. I think we're very similar strength in terms of Chelsea and Liverpool, so I don't see how Palace can be able to pull that one off. But you never know. They do typically play some teams away pretty tough. It just that one just seems a little too much for them. Then next up, also 10 a.m. Man City, Southampton.
City next.
That's fair. Do we want to give it? Do we want to?
No.
I think that's pretty fair. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No disrespect. I'm only busting, but it's going to be City.
You're losing Southampton. Sorry.
It's going to be City.
Yeah.
We just lost every Southampton follower we had. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're on a roll. Sorry.
Then we have the last 10 a.m. of that day. Norwich, Watford.
I cannot wait. I swear to God, this is the one game I want to see on Saturday more than any other. Like,
Why?
I like how it's
why?
I like how it's
Can
prime
you
time too, by the
explain?
way.
It's just, can you explain?
yeah, because it's prime. You're talking about the two major candidates for relegation this year, based on how the season's going. This is going to tell you so much about the mentality of both these teams coming into this game. If you come into this game, you have to want it. If you don't come out firing in all cylinders, how do you possibly expect to stay in the league? I want to see the reaction that these guys have, knowing that they're probably going to be fighting, and that they take 3 points off one another.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah. So what are your predictions?
It's a must-win game for both sides.
What's your prediction?
Norwich, 2-1 Norwich.
I'm with Vito on that one. I actually like that scoreline a lot. They've also played well in some of their losses too, where I think they should have scored. They should have gotten some points off of it. And this is a very winnable game. And that was against much better competition. I think they have a little bit more going forward than Watford does. So 2-1.
I would agree, Norwich, but instead of a 2-1, a 1-0.
Oh, he's very defensive, apparently. Okay.
I think it'll be just more cagey than anything.
Fair. Very fair. Sunday, or no, we actually have one more game. I apologize. Aston Villa, Everton. That's the primetime game. The last one was 10 o'clock. My apologies.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting battle. Given the run of form that Everton are in and what we were just talking about them earlier, I think you have to look at Everton for this win. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be very fluid and open. Everton likes to attack, and they like to play with those wide guys who are absolutely electric right now, especially in that Andrew Townsend. But I think it's just going to be a little too much for Aston Villa. I think it's going to, again, be the same scoreline of 2-1 as we just said for Norwich Watford.
Okay. What are we feeling there, Noah?
Yeah, definitely going to be the best game, or one of the better games, I should say, on paper, like match wise, in terms of like two teams that are like pen on pen, like should be good pound for pound. But I want to say Everton have that slight edge, but I don't know, because obviously we've seen a little bit earlier in the season some defensive woes, and I get the feeling that Aston Villa is the type of team that they have the ability to pounce on that. Because of that, I can easily see this kind of being like a 1-1 draw or something along those lines, and that's probably the scoreline I would stick with.
I need to start giving my predictions first, so you guys are copying me. Yeah, I'm thinking 1-1, 2-2 as well there. Definitely a draw.
Okay.
Next up, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Brighton and Leicester. I'm going first. Maybe I'm being a little biased just because we had a interviewee on as a Brighton Home fan.
That we'll touch on at the end for all our listeners.
Yeah, that will be out on Friday for us. But I like what they're doing. Leicester's not looking too good right now. I could easily see this. They are playing at the Amex, so I'm thinking
Amex is a tough place to play. It's a very tough place.
1-0 Brighton. Take that dub home. Neil Maupay.
Okay, now I know what it feels like to be you, because that was my exact score line and result.
Yeah. Eat shit.
Yeah.
I want Brighton to win. They're in good form right now. Leicester is definitely trending downwards. I get the feeling that this is going to be a 1-1 draw, not a win for Brighton.
Yeah, so I was teetering on that score line as well too, Mike, because it's hard to picture Leicester not getting a goal, but I'm sticking my 1-0. Sorry.
Okay. The other 9 o'clock game that we got that day, West Ham at home against Manchester United. Tough one. Which West Ham showing up?
No.
Well, not the West Ham with Mikel Antonio.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Exactly.
That's a fact.
So because of that, they're missing their all-time leading goal scorer now. I'm not giving them a shot against Manchester United with Ronaldo in form and that whole team playing out of their minds.
Yeah,
I just don't foresee West Ham having the ability to pull that off.
Yeah, I think if this is pre-Ronaldo Manchester United, you talk about that inconsistency they've had it a lot of times, then you might think maybe they slide off a great performance, but there's no way Ronaldo lets that happen. And to Mike's point, no Mikel Antonio, player of the month for August, by far their best player on the field every time they stepped out there. Well, until last week, that is. Yeah, I'd take United here, probably at a 3-1 scoreline.
Did you guys get the feel at all? I don't know if you watched the entire Man U game, especially more the first half than the second. Did it remind you of like a Juventus team where Ronaldo had to carry, or they felt like they were trying to force him into doing a lot of the goal scoring. It felt to me like he was trying to carry
I think they
more.
just wanted to get him involved, more or less, just to kind of get him into the fray. I don't think, granted, obviously he's Cristiano Ronaldo and he can carry a team by himself if they really needed him to. But they have the quality all around from an attacking and creative midfield perspective where they don't necessarily need to rely on him. So I don't think it was purposefully done. It might have been more of the players just trying to get him back into the groove of things. I'll put it that way.
Ronaldo apparently gave a small speech in the locker room before the game, and it was probably like, give me the ball all the time. so I'm betting that was what happened.
It's like, I'm back, bitches.
But no, I agree with Mike trying to play through him.
I gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go Man U win there too. No Mikel Antonio. They still have a bunch of creative midfielders going forward. Souček, Ben Rama, Fornals. They definitely have the talent. I think they'll nick one, especially on a Man U that's defense that, a little leaky every now and then. They tend to drop off a little bit. 2-1, 3-1 Man U. And in the last game of the week, we have Tottenham versus Chelsea. 11:30 a.m. London derby.
Oh yeah, battle of the bridge, or not the bridge? They're not playing at the bridge, are they?
No, they're not playing.
No. They're at Tottenham.
That's Spurs Stadium, yet to be named.
Yeah, you guys got to
be bought. You should say.
Yeah, yet to be bought by Jeff Bezos, please. For the love of God.
You wish.
Daniel Levy still wouldn't sell, so what's the difference?
The last 5 results out of this, I'll throw it out to you guys, including a club friendly. 3 draws and 2 Chelsea wins. Tottenham have not nicked one off, at least in the last 5.
Yeah, as much as I love my Spurs, and I want to give them an opportunity and a shot, there's still question marks, at least at the time we're recording this right now, about whether Bergwijn's going to play, whether Son's going to play. Defensively, Eric Dyer, Jota Tanganga's out. We're not even sure if Lo Celso or Romero or Sanchez will be able to play defensively. Given all of that, I'm going to go a Spurs win. I'm just kidding.
I was waiting on that anyway. I was like, but besides all that, 1-0.
Yeah.
If there's ever a 1-0 game, that's it.
Hillary bangs in a free kick.
But yeah, with all that stacked against them, especially after that 3-0 loss, I just get the feeling this is going to be a 2-0 loss to Chelsea this week. So,
yeah, now you're spot on with everything you said. You look at these two teams, and the problems for Spurs are exactly the reason why Chelsea's so favored in this, because when you have players out, you can backfill those positions with players like Ziyech and Havertz and Hudson-Odoi and things like that. Losing Tanganga and Dier in that back, I think is just going to be too much for Spurs to overcome. And Chelsea are in great form as they have been when they finish the season. So I think this is going to be probably a 2-0 run out for Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't see any other result right now. That they're moving and grooving for the most part. I like I said, I still don't think we've seen the best Chelsea just yet. Hopefully maybe this week and this weekend. But what other thoughts you guys got? Everything coming up right now. We got Champions League, got Premier League, a lot of stuff.
I really want to watch the Bayern Munich Barcelona game and see if they smack them again.
Yeah, that'll be a great game. And I'm gonna pull out an early bold prediction right now. Get ready for this.
We hear it.
Let's see how bold it is.
We're gonna see a PSG Manchester United Champions League final.
That is pretty bold, actually.
That is not incredibly. United has the ability to do it.
What'd you say?
It's not out of the question, but it is. It's a little out there. It's a little out there.
I think this will come back. Mark this date. Mark this calendar. Mark the time. I'm calling it right now. And a PSG win. My boy Messi. So.
You really want PSG to take one?
I'm gonna post this everywhere. It's this exact soundbite as soon as they get knocked out.
Freezing cold takes.
Yeah. Starring the one-man show of Michael Nolan.
No, but excited though. Champions League to be back. I'm very, very stoked for that in general. I think a couple of teams are going to surprise. Specifically, I think a dark horse will be Wolfsburg throughout the
They look
competition.
good, man. They look good over in Germany right now.
I think they're going to tear it up. And
What
then
about group two?
also in your group, I think they're in your group, Porto, right? Or they're not?
No.
In yours?
Nah.
I think they're going to make a lot of noise too.
I said that too. There were Liverpool, Atletico, and AC Milan though.
Yeah. So I think they'll make a lot of noise. But yeah, very excited for that. And excited also for, I'm sure we'll get to this, but our new mini series podcast that we're rolling.
Do we have the name, or is it official?
It's official. We're going to be starting a new 30-minute segment, releasing later on in the week at an unspecified date, so stay tuned. But we're going to be releasing Hooligans Half Hours, where we're going to be bringing on a supporter from one of the 20 Premier League clubs. We're going to try to get through every single one of them from a supporters group, and we're going to kind of get their insights on the club, how they became supporters, what they think about how their club's operating and performing, where they can improve, and everything else regarding that club. First week out, we're starting with Brighton Hove Albion, so you'll be able to hear that and enjoy a nice 30-minute roundup with someone who has a little bit more expertise in that club than most other people.
Specifically, too, a lot of this will be United States-based supporters groups as well, to kind of get their opinions, their thoughts, especially as people from the Estadios Unidos.
Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, what?
I don't know. I've been practicing Spanish on Duolingo. I feel like I felt the need to say that.
You can open his Duolingo account right now. You nailed it, though. I'll be honest, you nailed
Shout
it.
out.
Anyway, it's going to be awesome. Everyone should definitely check it out. Listen, you probably hear some cool stuff you didn't realize, and maybe even from a fantasy perspective, if you play Fantasy Premier League, you might hear a name or two to lock up for the future. You never know. So.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely about it. If you guys know if any listeners out there, if you are part of any supporter groups in the US for any team, we're looking to interview them. Slide into our DMs. We are always open, and I would love to sit down and have a conversation. Any other thoughts there, boys?
That's all I got, my man.
I'm tapped.
Tapped out.
Thoughtless.
Tapped out.
Aren't
That'll
you
do
always?
Vito went there.
Yeah, my bad.
No, it was great. That'll do it for another episode of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. Like, comment, hit the bell, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere else you get your podcast. Follow us on Twitter, SLScreamers_pod, for daily tweets, updates, and the show, world football in general. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, with Vito Anazelli and Michael Nowen, signing off.